Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how you all doing on this Thursday evening? Yes, I know, another video. It's weird. It's not a sign of the apocalypse. It isn't one of the seals from, the gates of hell about to open. And yes, I also have my hat off again. Letting it hang loose like I said yesterday. As you can see from the title, it's called The Script. The reason it's called that, and bear with me, and I will explain it. I was watching the Steve Coogan thing, an interview outside the gates of 10 Downing Street. And they were talking about cuts to the education, and as much as that is a terrible thing that we are cutting funds from our education system, it's terrible the fact that we have underpaid teachers, which I believe is one of the reasons why we are fed information, not grown information. What I mean by that is they only teach you what's on the books. They only teach you the curriculum to the T that is set for them by whoever governs them. By grown information, I mean information that's true. Do you know what I'm saying? Christopher Columbus massacred the native Indians. Do you know what I'm saying? That is grown information. Fact that information, facts that we now know are true. Have to be true. How the Africans were treated. And that we learn a little bit of it, but we don't learn the ongoing abuse and persecution that they have, as well as the roundup of the Jews during the Nazi occupation of most of Europe. We only hear snippets because, as everybody knows, the victors write the history books. But the bit of why I want to call it The Script, and it is The Script, because from here on out, or from, I don't know, I can't give you a real start point of when I think it started or when the decline started. But for everything that we want public service wise, the things that we want and the things that we want our government to do, I list off a few things that I'd like to do. The first one, obviously, the education bit, the grown information instead of the fed information. That'd be a good idea. But with that, we would have to increase the wages of our teachers so that it was actually enjoyable for them to come to work and teach. Renewable energies, moving away from dirty energies to cleaner energies. Spend some money on that. Definitely 100% the NHS. Everybody in the UK has used the NHS at one time, unless you were born at home. Or in the back of an ambulance, but I suppose you're still using one of their services. But do you know what I mean? We all use their services in one shape or another, and it's being degraded away and being sold off. And we need to invest in that. So for all you people out there that are going to say, well, there's other things that we could spend it on. Yeah, security of our country. I don't mean buying making bullets and bombs and sending our brothers and sisters over to foreign countries, because that still amazes me how people can say we send soldiers to foreign countries or we bomb other countries to protect us at home. It doesn't. You can look at countless things of how that doesn't work. But the script is always, well, where are we going to get this money from? Now, where are we going to get this money from to do these wonderful things that you want to do? And analogies have been used, like the money tree, which was bounced around Jeremy Corbyn and Theresa May during the election period. But we gave £1.5 billion, or whatever the figure may be, to the DUP for their help. Don't you believe that money could have been used elsewhere? I know that it was used to obviously buy the votes. Anybody that denies it obviously is living inside a bubble. Because a coalition government, if we were going to bring in another party, we could have just brought in Corbyn. But I believe the ultimate game was to stop Corbyn ever setting foot on the doorstep of 10 Downing Street. I like to, say that the money that we give them, we pay our taxes. If we don't, we end up going to prison. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not Google or Amazon. We actually have to pay our taxes. But, the taxes that we have obviously aren't enough to pay all these things that we're doing. So, therefore, it leaves us with solutions. the establishment are going to say raise taxes. That's what they're going to do, because it doesn't affect them, you know, because they don't pay taxes. You know, all the money that they spend comes from us, you know, from us paying our taxes. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're not the problem. We obviously aren't the problem, because if we are the problem, we're arrested, detained, and sent to prison for non-payment of taxes or whatever the case may be. So maybe we should start looking closer at these people that we have. People that claim expenditures and only for like 400 metres away from wherever their, you know, the expenditures covered for. Maybe we should walk. Now, I've got to walk. You know, I've got no, you know, chauffeur driver that comes and picks me up and takes me anywhere I want to go. So maybe we should do that. Maybe we should, you know, stop flying to foreign countries and sticking our nose in where it's obviously not wanted. I don't know if you've noticed this, Theresa May, but there are these things called video calls. You could sit in 10 Downing Street and do pretty much everything that you do face to face over the camera. Would save us money. You know, you're talking about this services needs, you know, we need to make cuts to this service and this, that and the other. But we need to actually look at the things that our taxes are being spent of and where we can cut back. You know, policing at protests. One of my good friends said to me, the amount of police that I have seen at protests up in Scotland, it is very minimal. Do you know what I'm saying? They're about, but they would be like normal, you know, just driving around their patches, checking that there's no trouble. But when you see protests like London, when there are hundreds of police officers, not only just officers, but vehicles, which run on, you know, fuel, which eventually that's going to have to be, you know, horses. Do you know what I'm saying? Helicopters. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, you know, none of it's necessary, but not all of it is necessary. Having these, you know, big banquet things, you know, for foreign interests and foreign investors and stuff like this, you know, it's good, because we need to build trade with people and communications and pipelines with people and, you know, get resources and pump resources out. But there must be a cheaper way of doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? When us normal people, us working people, us servants to the higher elite, run out of money or can't spend money on certain things, we allocate where our funds can go to. And where the funds can't go to. Do you know what I'm saying? And what's priority this week to what's priority next week. And I'm not saying that's how we should run a government, but I'm sick and tired of hearing the script of where are we going to get the money from. Well, the money's already there. You already have the money. It's where you put out the resources to. That's the problem. You're obviously not putting the resources in the right places. You know, obviously, don't get me wrong. I believe there are other services, other things that the government spend their money on that are essential. The NHS. Otherwise, you're going to see people dropping like flies. Nobody wants that. Unless you're an elite, and I believe that's your agenda. I want to move on to another thing. I know I called it the script, but I want to move on to another thing, a thought that I had in my brain. This cladding that was on this flat block. I know we're now testing other places, other flat blocks. I heard of hospitals being tested. I believe every building that the government has any control over, any council has control over, because it doesn't seem to be a Chelsea and Westminster or whatever the council was called problem. It doesn't seem to be just in that area. It seems to be everywhere. I was watching a video yesterday, and the actual council in question apparently got like the highest star rating for their housing and their social care and their education and this, that and the other. And it turns out one of them pillars, the housing one, it's not so true. Do you know what I'm saying? A flat block with no fire extinguishers or sprinklers, and do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem right. So I personally believe that we should test any building that the government has anything to do with. You know, anything to do with in the last 5 years. Any, you know, improvements, you know, lick of paint here and there needs to be looked at. Because that is one way, you know, as we've seen with that flat block, that people die horrible, monstrous deaths at the hands of cutting corners. And we are looking at the worst austerity to come. But it will pass, as all bad things do. But we need to stand together. We need to, together, as a collective, unify against the evil that obviously wants us dead and gone. Because the script, you know, is never taking responsibility for their actions. And I am sick and tired of having people, you know, up here, so to speak, governments, police officers, believing that they have some, you know, exemption from taking responsibility for their actions. Therefore, I get down, you know, with the full identity of my actions. You know, I hurt somebody and they do me for the most that they possibly can. But yet nobody else wants to take responsibility for their actions. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it, as usual. Gives me a chance to get a load off. So as usual, guys, from me, like, subscribe and comment. Peace and love.